Okay, think about a time when you felt totally overwhelmed, mind racing, maybe facing a challenge that just felt huge. What if there was this simple but really powerful tool, like a single phrase, maybe even just a sound that could cut right through the noise, anchor your focus, tap into this inner strength you didn't know you had? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah, that feeling, that desire for calm, for focus in this incredibly noisy world we live in. It's so human, isn't it? We're just constantly bombarded information, demands. Finding that internal anchor feels more important than ever. And today we're going to unpack the real impact of something called a personal mantra. We'll look at what it really is, dig into the science, which is fascinating, by the way, and, give you some real actionable ways to create and use your own for strength, focus, a more centered life.
Okay, let's unpack that then. Mantra. It's a word you hear a lot, but what is it really? Is it just like a trendy term, or does it have a deeper meaning?
That's a great place to start because, yeah, the word has kind of evolved. The word itself, mantra, it comes from Sanskrit. Man meaning mind, and tra, well, that means instrument or tool. So literally, it's a tool for the mind, or sometimes translated as that which liberates the mind. Historically, these were, ancient spiritual tools used for centuries. Think Vedic Hinduism, Buddhism. And their main goal, to focus the mind, cultivate positivity, help with meditation, personal growth. They're basically powerful phrases, words, or sounds, repeated, silently or out loud. And that repetition, it creates this vibration almost that can resonate through you, bring a sense of peace.
Right, that historical context is really useful. But okay, this brings up something I hear a lot. Are mantras basically the same thing as affirmations? Or is there something more going on?
Yeah, the affirmation question. It's a good one. And there is a difference, a nuance on it. It kind of depends on how you look at it. So affirmations, in the way we usually talk about them today, they're generally short, positive statements. You use them to challenge negative thoughts, right? Or replace them with confidence, calm. They're very intentional, proactive. You direct them yourself, really interacting with your, let's call it your everyday mind, to shift focus, build resilience.
Okay, so affirmations are more about consciously kind of, reframing thoughts in the now, for the now.
Pretty much, yes. Now, if you look at it from a more traditional Eastern perspective, affirmations could be seen as a type of mantra, but traditional mantras, they're often viewed as mystical sound vibrations, believed to hold a kind of divine energy. Sometimes they even say it's God in the form of sound. And they're thought to interact with your subtle body, your soul. They carry this deeper spiritual weight or merit. So affirmations, usually created by us for our own mindset. Traditional mantras, often seen as coming from a higher or divine source. But here's the key thing, the common ground. Both use powerful positive statements, repeated, to influence how you think, build positive traits. And for both to work, you need that repetition, yes, but also belief, really internalizing the meaning until it feels true.
Okay, this is where I get really curious. How does just repeating a phrase or a sound, how does that actually affect our brains, our bodies? What's the science tell us?
Right. And this is where, honestly, modern science is catching up with ancient wisdom in really cool ways. Think about this simple experiment. Maybe you've heard of it, the finger length experiment. People were told to just focus really intensely on one of their fingers growing longer. And guess what? Using precise calipers, some people actually showed a tiny but measurable increase in length just from thinking it.
Seriously, just from thought?
Yeah, it's a really clear demo of that direct mind-body link. And this connects to a whole field, psychoneurophysiology, big word, I know. But it basically studies how our mind, nervous system, body, immune system, even hormones, they're all interconnected, constantly talking to each other. Your thoughts aren't just up there, they ripple through your whole physical self.
Wow. So our mental state isn't abstract at all. It's physically real inside us.
Exactly. And with mantras, the effect is pretty specific, especially on our brain waves. Our brain has different gears, different frequencies. Beta, when we're actively thinking, problem solving, like now. Alpha, when we're relaxed, maybe eyes closed. Theta, that's deeper relaxation just before sleep, linked to intuition, creativity. And gamma, very high frequency, seen in high achievers, monks. Mantras can actually shift you between these states.
And what does that mean for us day to day? How does shifting those waves help?
Okay, take something like Om chanting. Studies show it creates these resonance patterns between different brain frequencies, and that helps build long-term neuroplasticity. That's your brain's amazing ability to rewire itself, form new connections based on what you do and think. One study found just 5 minutes of Om chanting a day for about 66 days. It led to a permanent reduction in activity in the limbic system.
The limbic system, that's the fight or flight part,
Yeah.
right? The stress center.
Exactly. Fight, flight, fear. So less activity there means less reactivity, less stress. And what's really interesting, both chanting and just listening to Om had an effect. But actively chanting, that led to broader brain activation and even more limbic deactivation. It's not just hearing it, it's the act of producing the sound yourself.
So actually doing it makes a bigger difference in calming those stress responses. That's really powerful.
It absolutely is. And we see similar things with other techniques like Brahmar, the humming bee breath. Even one session can shift your brain pretty dramatically from that busy, high beta state to being relaxed in alpha but still super focused. Some traditions even talk about it expanding your energy field, which aligns with that feeling of calm clarity you get. And even simple meditation, maybe silently repeating "my mind is limitless" for 5 minutes, that can boost theta waves, enhance creativity, intuition. Harvard studies back this up too. They consistently find meditators have lower limbic firing rates, less baseline stress and fear.
That direct hit on the stress response is
Yeah.
just incredible.
It really is. And mantras, chanting, they also activate the vagus nerve.
Ah, yes. Heard about that.
Yeah, it's a huge player in our relaxation response. Activating it helps slow your heart rate, lower blood pressure. You can feel physiological changes almost instantly. And then there's this research on the Sanskrit effect. Really fascinating. They studied pundits, experts chanting ancient Vedic texts, specifically the Yajurveda. Their brains showed remarkable differences. Larger hippocampi, that's key for memory. Changes in the anterior cingulate, which connects to that limbic system we talked about. And get this, the cortex areas for language and memory. Up to 15 times thicker in some cases.
15 times. Wow. What causes that?
Researchers think it's a combination of things. The unique sound vibrations of Sanskrit, the intonation, the rhythms, maybe even what they call the formlessness of the words. It's complex but powerful.
That's wild. It almost makes you think of, that water experiment, Dr. Emoto, where the water crystals changed based on words.
It's a compelling parallel, definitely, especially when you remember our bodies are, 70, 80% water. It certainly makes you think about how these sound vibrations, these intentions, could be influencing our internal state, right? And looking long term. There's a famous study on a Buddhist monk, 10,000 hours of meditation under his belt. They found permanent, significant changes in his brain structure, in his brain waves. And the study suggested that combining meditation with chanting, it seemed to make these changes happen faster, ingrain them more deeply. Essentially, this kind of practice shifts your brain's reliance away from the threat brain, that reactive limbic system, and more towards the prefrontal cortex, your center for planning, executive function, emotional control. It helps you become more centered, less reactive.
Okay, this is all incredible. So the big question then, how do we actually use this? How can we take this ancient wisdom, this cool science, and create our own personal mantra, that daily dose of strength and focus you mentioned?
Right, let's get practical. The very first step, it's introspection. Really, you need to reflect a bit.
Yeah.
What qualities do you want more of in your life? What are your goals right now? Your core values? Are you looking for peace, strength, maybe abundance, self-love, healing, focus? What do you genuinely want to cultivate?
So it's not about just grabbing any old phrase. It needs to connect to something real for you.
Exactly. Personal resonance is key. Once you have some clarity on what you want, phrase it in the present tense. This is important. Start with I am or I have. So instead of I want to be confident, it's I am confident. Why? Because that taps into neuroplasticity. You're telling your brain this is already true, which helps make it true. It's empowering.
Yeah.
And while, sure, there are tons of examples out there, the absolute best mantras, they're the ones you craft yourself, using words that genuinely resonate deep down with you and your values, that makes it way more impactful.
Okay, I am, present tense. But what if it feels like fake? If I say, I am confident, but I really don't feel it, does it need to be believable?
That's a really important point. Yes. Be realistic, but still empowering. Choose words you can start to believe in. Maybe it's not, I'm the most confident person ever right away. Maybe it's, I'm becoming more confident every day, or just, I'm capable. Start where you are, but aim high. And here's another crucial piece. Don't just say the words blankly. You have to inject emotion. Visualize the outcome. Feel what it would be like to embody that mantra. Choose words that actually inspire you, trigger positive feelings. That turns it from just saying words into, an energetic thought, a feeling thought.
Oh, okay. So the feeling behind it is just as important as the words themselves. And I'm guessing for that rewiring effect, you need to do it regularly.
Oh, consistency and action are absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Yes, you really need to commit to repeating your mantra daily. Ideally, aim for maybe 5 minutes in the morning. So it's a great tone. And again, in the evening, helps calm the mind. Remember that 66-day finding for neuroplasticity. Consistency is how you build those new neural pathways. And when you do it, be mindful. Don't just rush through it. Take a few deep breaths first.
Yeah.
Really listen to each word as you say it, silently or aloud. Be present with it. Repeating it maybe 10 times or more can help it sink in.
Makes sense. It's a tool, right? But it doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing else.
Exactly. It's not magic. A mantra is a powerful support in your toolkit, for sure. But you still need to take proactive steps toward the change you want. It supports your action. It doesn't replace it. How do you know it's working? Well, you'll feel it. It should capture your attention, quiet the mental chatter a bit. It should make you feel good, calm, centered, empowered. You might find yourself in this relaxed but focused state where your mind just kind of revolves around the mantra's feeling. And there are lots of ways to integrate it. Write it down on sticky notes, in a journal, record yourself saying it, and listen back. Repeat it silently during your commute or aloud when you're alone. Use it during meditation. If anxiety is something you deal with, simple mantras like, I am safe and in control, or even just, this too shall pass, can be incredibly grounding in the moment. There's a great example from a writer, Piley Dunn. She shared her personal mantra was Forza e Coraggio, that's Italian for strength and courage. She adopted it during a really tough time, and she said it just became this anchor for her, born right out of her personal need.
Wow. Forza e Coraggio. I like that. What an amazing deep dive this has been. We've gone from the ancient history of mantras all the way to the, frankly, mind-blowing science showing how they can actually change our brains. And most importantly, we've talked about how you can create your own daily dose of strength, of focus. This isn't just interesting theory, is it? It feels like a really practical tool we can all use.
It really is. And I think the journey of finding and using a personal mantra, it's more than just saying words. It's really about making a continuous conscious choice, a choice to shape your inner world. It's almost like an act of self-authorship, recognizing that these huge shifts we want, they often start with those quiet whispers we choose to repeat, to nurture inside our own minds. So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with is this. If you really knew, that cultivating one single idea or feeling or state within yourself had the power to fundamentally change your reality, what would you choose? How would you put your unique dose of strength and focus into words?
That's a powerful question. Definitely something to think about. We really hope you experiment with these ideas. Find your phrase, feel its energy, and just see what happens in your daily life. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep diving deep.